Welcome back. Join me today, something a bit different. I've gone to Meadowlands for a 3-day festival with my mate Smithy and his mate who used to live round us, Dave. So yeah, first day, random draw, so it sort of sets your rotation. I've come all this way. Smithy's there, and I'm here. Peg 30 on Lansdowne, end peg. I think Smithy's snooping, look. He wants to be on camera. Here he is, look, the boy. Come all this way. Drawn next to each other.
Must be old fish if I'm drawn next to you.
Yeah, it's got a point. Right, my peg 30. So Smithy's just on that point, and then I've got a bit of space. I'm last peg in this section, and I've got next anglers over there, so I've got all this. Another rocket ship, Smithy.
Rocket.
Another rocket ship. Well, yeah, we're here for a good week, aren't we? That's all we're here for. Good week's fishing, so try and catch some of these 20-pounders that are in here apparently. Well, yeah, simple really, carp fishing. 8 mils, bomb, long pole, shallow, micros, maggots, everything else down the edge. Yeah, we'll have a crack, see what we can do. So, first visit to Lansdowne. So the talk was a early fish short could be the play. With all the room I had and the wind blowing, I really fancied it for an early fish. Started short on 8mm pellets, just tapping a few in. Probably sat here for 20 minutes and I don't think I had a single indication. I was just like, this is a bit weird. But no one else was catching either. So yeah, I didn't really... I think it was because it was so shallow, the water was really low this week, as you'll probably see. And I had like 2.5, 3 foot on this line, where normally you'd have like 4.5. So I definitely think it impacted the fact that like pretty much no one caught any fish short all week. But yeah, I was very surprised not even to get a line or an indication early on this line. So this was the first sign of life I had on this day, first day. I tried short pole, I tried long pole shallow when I could with the wind, I tried on the bottom. I even put a little bit of bait down the margin, see if anything had come in early, and I had no signs. I think Paul next door had like 2 carp and lost 2 on a bomb. He was more like central where there tends to be the better bomb pegs. So I just decided, while there was nothing happening, almost waiting for an arrival down the side, because I was pretty confident that was going to happen, I just decided to sit on this bomb. I just sat there with a single 8mm pellet on, just sat there and waited. I think this one come after about 12 minutes, and it was the first sign of life I had in my peg. It was just a random bite out of nowhere, no lines or anything, after like 2 hours. So it was positive. I mean, it was a 6-hour match, so there's plenty of time. But yeah, 2 hours in and I've just hooked my first fish. I was a bit concerned given the peg and the potential it had. So, a random occurrence. I think I had 2 fish on the bomb line, just been mega patient. And then, like 3.5 to 4 hours in, there was like an arrival down the side, and we think because of the rain. When it rained, they seemed to just come in, and when it stopped raining, they just disappeared. So for like an hour, I think I caught 7 fish down the side, and obviously at Meadowlands, each fish is 10 plus pound. I apologise for the poor camera work, but the weather was horrendous, and as you can probably see, I had to put my coat over my camera, so the view isn't great. But it was just like a switch had flicked, and with like 2 hours to go, I've had like 7 carp down the edge. I was into like 9 carp, and I was thinking, wow, this could be something special. And obviously, as you'll be able to see in a second, by the size of the fish, obviously without seeing the coat, the size of the fish, I had to go up a bigger landing net as well. But each fish was maybe double figures. That was maybe not so big, but some of the other fish were massive, really. So we had like 45 minutes left. I've not had a bite since I had that good run down the edge. So I've probably gone an hour without a fish, and I'm just again I'm thinking have they just disappeared? I have fed a silverfish line at like 5 meters, and I've started seeing swirls. All I did was put some ground bait and maggots in, and I started seeing these swirls and tails, and I thought, that's a bit strange. So I've got one of my deeper margin rigs, plumbed it up on a top cane short 4. I've put red hydro on it, and I've started big potting dead maggots in, and then within 5 minutes there was tailing up, and I've just gone in with a double worm, and I think I've had like 4 or 5 in the last 40 minutes. A couple of the fish I caught on this line were massive as well. I had one maybe 16 pound, I think, and a couple more 14s. I think this is a smaller one, but I don't know whether it was a depth thing. I was like 15-inch in the edge, and I had like 2.5 to 2.5 foot where I was here, and they just seemed to be confident. But then the last 15 minutes, I couldn't catch one. So for like another half an hour period, I've had 4 or 5 big fish. It was incredible, really, because you could see the fish in your peg before they take your bait, and it was just waiting for that float to absolutely bury. It was great fishing. I say at this point now there was probably 20 minutes left, so I was sort of kind of went into overdrive a little bit. I was pulling a bit hard. I did lose a couple that were foul hooked because once I caught like the first 3 or 4 that were really confident, they would come in, they would just hoover up your worms. They did go scatty, and it almost felt like they could see what was going on. They could definitely see what was going on because you could see them swimming to your worms to start with, and then after the first few got caught, they was like, we ain't daft, we ain't taking them worms because we've seen what's happened to our mates. And it was like a real quick burst again, same down the edge. I don't know if it's because it's like the colour of the water had dropped out, or I think it was mainly the depth, but they definitely seemed to want maggots and worms. On this day I caught down the edge fishing maggots on the hook, and then I caught short here throwing maggots in the end, fishing double worm. But some of these fish, look at this, they're incredible, and there was all perfect fish as well.
Hang on. Oh dear, it's a bit close. No, maybe not. Fuck. There's a fucking top 2 rings the other way around, dude. Right.
Is there more in there? Is there more in there?
52.4.
I know it's a bit gay, but can I have a picture? So I said 150, didn't I?
Just more left in your net.
No, that's it.
Oh, I thought, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant if you got another net. No, no. Piggies. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Pardon, mate.
Here we are, second day, Meadowlands. Sun, no, we'll go this way. We're on. I was on Deeps yesterday. We're on the Pump Fire Bank today. And I'm not sure, to be fair. I've not drawn an end, which I think you probably need. I'm on 56. 56. You've got Mick Bull there, and you've got young lad Josh, who's decent here. He's on 62, which is apparently the standout peg on this bit. Apparently mine could be decent. There's a lot of fish out there. A lot of fish out in the middle. People are fishing tea bags and stuff, and I've done it before, but I ain't brought anything because I didn't think it would be like that. But when I come here years ago, I used to chuck an hybrid straight to the middle and just sit on it and wait and catch. But I've gone for a bit of a 2-pronged. I've got a nice edge to me right, just there. I've got meat short at like 7 metres, but I'm going to start on it fishing big bits of meat for carp, then I'm going to swap it for smaller bits for skimmers later on. Long pole and then bombing a waggler line, I think. But yeah, we'll see. I'm a bit out of tune with the venue compared to others, obviously. But yeah, we'll give it a go. I'm happy. There's plenty of fish out there, so yeah, that's it. Eventually.
So, day 2. Before you see the rest of the lack of footage, a bit of a disappointment. I feel like I didn't know really what to do. Everyone was chucking tea bags around me and they were catching an odd fish. Not many. I think there was a couple of fish caught to me right, but my first fish come at, it's like 20 past 1, half past 1 or something like that, which is halfway through. So I was a bit disgruntled really, but no one was really catching. There was an odd person catching opposite, and I don't think Mick had one yet to my left. But I think there was maybe a couple of fish had been caught further down. So I thought it was going to be a relatively low weight affair. I tried fishing for skimmers on the pole and you'd catch 2 and then go again. Yet again, I don't think I was correctly prepared for it. So in the end, I just went for the chuck it in chance approach, which was just loading up a hybrid feeder, double skinning it, like a 70-30 ground bait, 70-30 pellets ground bait mix, just as a little bit of a cloud, and just chucking it out and waiting for the rod to go around. This was the first fish I had. I think it was like 15 minutes it was sat there for. So yeah, it was its first fish, but it did spark a little run, and I maybe dropped on a couple. But yeah, very slow, very patient, and it does not suit my style of fishing. But because I didn't have the tea bags, I didn't really know what to do other than just sit out there on a hybrid in the middle of the lake. So it was really interesting. I had them two fish in two chucks, and then I've just stayed with it. I thought, well, I'm not going to do anything else, so I've just chucked it out again, same spot. Obviously, I couldn't get the bites because I didn't know how long the bites were going to be. So like, this was maybe 10 minutes after I've had my last fish. Chucked it out, tip's gone round, and I hooked it, and I thought, it's a bit strange. It felt like a snag almost. And this fish was not happy. It felt big, like it felt like there was a lot of weight on the rod. So I was just taking my time because I think Mick had hooked one. So I was like, well, I'm 2 in front, 2 to 1, and I thought this is a big fish, get this in. And it's just not. I just couldn't get my head around the style of fishing. But yeah, it's just sitting wait. That's all I had to do. But unfortunately, this was the last fish I had, like last carp I had anyway. I had a few more skimmers and stuff, just trying to build a weight. Trying my bomb line, nothing, waggler line, nothing. So this was like, I don't know, maybe it was 20 past 2. We had 2 hours left or something. And I've landed this. It was massive. I'll let
Probably
you enjoy and see it.
That's probably why. Fucking hell. Oh. don't know, it's fucking 18 or something. Bigger than I had yesterday. Fucking hell. That's why I took my time. I knew it was big, but obviously maybe not that fucking big like. But here we are. Poor day yesterday. 40 pound, I got second to last in my section. Everyone's caught on tea bags around me, which I was not prepared for or ready to do. So yeah, tough one yesterday. Looking forward to this all week. I've never fished Warren Pool. I've drawn a good peg, I think. For those that might know it, big old tree in mate. Peg 4 on Warren. Nice peg, commands a bit of water to be fair. Spoke to Grant Merritt, he's been doing well here and knows it a lot better. He said it can be quite a good area. And what he was talking is basically my sort of match, just tapping pellets in everywhere. So bombing, they're saying they're catching on tea bags on here as well, but I just wasn't ready for it or prepared that that's what's going to happen. So I ain't got any PVA, but I've got a method and a bomb set up, which he said you'll catch on anyway. But I think it's a good pole peg. I've heard that you do catch a lot of fish short, but it is shallow, very shallow. As you can imagine, the water's down, and I've literally got like 2 foot everywhere, maybe 2.5 foot on a long pole. But there's a lot of fish because it's so shallow and it's like a red clay bottom. You can see the fish ripping the bottom up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a good day, I think. I really need to just win the section to have even a chance of framing. I'm on 7 points, but yesterday cost me a couple more fish. Tried fishing for silvers, was no good, but a couple more carp and I'd have been laughing really. But yeah, looking forward to today. Last day, nice weather. I think it's going to rain later, but turning around, got a nice little margin down there, and all the way around like that. I think Paul Smithy's just down there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So I had a very frustrating start to this match, and it didn't get much better until later on. There was fish in my peg. It was so shallow, it was like 2 foot deep. There were fish coming into my peg, and they were swirling, and I was getting liners, but I could not hook a fish. So I was just so frustrated that I had a good chance to win the leg or whatever, and I couldn't seem to get a fish on the hook. There was coming in, just tapping pellets in, changed it to meat, nothing worked. So frustrating. So it was a similar tale to the first day. I think I didn't have the cameras on when I had 5 or 6 fish long on the bottom. On the pole I had one on a method that was only small, but the weather looks really nice now, but at one point in time it was thunder and absolutely potential, like horrendous torrential downpour. So I didn't have the camera on when I caught 5 fish long. But I knew I was behind again because people had caught steady on tea bags and there was catching all types of fish down the edges. Smaller fish stamp compared to Lansdowne, but it was once again, I was on the charge at the end trying to build up some weight because I just had a terrible mid-match, and so we're into like the last hour now when I finally started to catch more consistently. So what had been in a, say, not a stressful day, but a non-eventful day once again towards the end. I did quite enjoy the ending actually. They were hard fighting fish in shallow water, and there was like a big margin down around the corner. I was fishing heavy gear, and the ending of the match was brilliant. Like I caught maybe 7 or 8 carp once again, not as big, but it was kind of expected on there. I think my biggest fish was maybe £10 down this margin. But it was interesting, compared to Lansdowne, these fish, I think it was more of a size thing. They seemed more, not interested, they did seem more interested in pellets rather than like, I tried feeding maggots and fishing the worms again, and it just didn't seem to work. It was an odd fish come in, but they just didn't seem to want to feed over it. So down the margin, I was just fishing, I was feeding 6mm pellets, fishing an 8mm on the hook, same again, red hydra, big strong gear. But yeah, it was a really nice, enjoyable way to end with the sun out after being freezing cold and torrential rain for half of the match in the middle. But yeah, it was a nice end to the 3 days, catching a few fish down the margins. So we'll let you enjoy the last little bit of footage, and I'm sure we'll catch up at the end.
Right, Meadowlands Festival over with. Really enjoyed it, apart from yesterday. Yesterday was a struggle and it's cost me overall. Today, enjoyed that though. Did mess it up a little bit. That's 76.12. Second in the section and third on the lake. It was another nice little pickup. I think I had 9 points. 8 got you in the frame. Just needed one more fish today and that would have done it for me, or yesterday. But just put that away before we sit off. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I've yeah, it's not about the money, but I've come and I won the match on the first day. I had a gruel yesterday, but just because I wasn't prepared for it, I don't think that tea bag, bomb and PVA bag, and just maybe a bit more patience waiting for a carp or something. But no, I've enjoyed it. Caught some fish on I've caught every fish on a pole today, basically, other than one little carp on a rod. But yeah, it's been good. Really enjoyed it. I think I'll definitely come back next year. It's a shame it's not fished as well as I thought it might do, but I mean, it's been cold, lots of rain, and the water levels are down. I definitely think I've got a bit better knowledge now, though. I mean, first time I've ever fished it, so. But yeah, definitely a bit better knowledge. I'm happy how I've done. Not disgraced myself, first time. Obviously, I want to do better, but yeah, just sneaked some money that has helped pay for accommodation and festival and everything, so can't complain at that at all. But yeah, now the 2-hour drive home, and I don't know where I'm going to go next, but there's a lot of stuff I need to edit. So once you've seen this, I think we'll probably be a month down the line, and it's a bit colder. We might go out and do some feeder fishing or something a bit different, I think. But anyway, yeah, really enjoyed this week. Cracking set of lads up here, down here, wherever you're from. Cracking set of lads here. Grant Merritt won the festival. Cracking lads. First time I met him today. He was as helpful as as helpful as you could be. So yeah, real nice. Big thanks to Wayne. He probably won't watch this. Wayne Sharman's run the festival. Mega nice guy as well. So got a lot of time for people. So yes, we are done and we're off, ready to drive home.